I make a lot of YouTube videos, but when it comes to social media platforms, Twitter is actually the one where I'm most active on. And not only is it a place where I post a lot, but that is also a place where I consume the most. I'm not really watching IT security news or so on YouTube because frankly there are not really channels that cover that. But I follow lots of people on Twitter, and so if there's anything interesting happening in the hacking world, then I'm gonna see a tweet about it. Maybe I retweet it, maybe I comment on it. But generally it's the place where I stay on top of things. Quite some time ago I actually made a video about the secret hacking forum because I consider Twitter one of those places where really hackers are still actively engaging with each other. Things are changing on that platform for better, but most likely for the worse, I don't know. And I guess in this video we kind of talk about this. And well, as you probably know, Twitter recently started to do revenue sharing. And you are eligible for that if your tweets reach 5 million impressions in the past 90 days. Then you posting on Twitter, you will get part of the ad revenue from Twitter. And being a content creator, and you know my financials about the YouTube channel, I of course thought about, is maybe Twitter a viable platform for me to produce more content? Also, I'm a big sucker for gamification. When I see a number to reach, my competitiveness kicks in. And so for me, it becomes a game, and I don't care about anything else. I kind of just want to reach that number now. I never really posted this much on Twitter before, but yeah, it became a game, so I started tweeting whatever came to my mind. So I guess here's my official apology to everybody who suffered through my tweets the past month. But I can tell you, I succeeded. And at the end of this video, I will tell you how much I earned in the past month. And so in this video, we are now gonna rank my tweets in a tier list because there are quite some trash tweets, but there are also good educational tweets. And I'm actually curious myself, how many garbage tweets did I send out in the past month while I was chasing the 5 million impressions? And how much good content was there actually? There have been quite some tweets, so let's better get started. Okay, let's start with this one here. So this was just a response to a tweet about CTFs, mainly because of what Mr. Me wrote here. I mean, this was definitely not educational, but it was CTF propaganda, and I like to do CTF propaganda, so maybe I put it B or C. It's probably a C tweet because it's pretty lame, but it's CTF propaganda, so it's not too bad. Okay, so this was a response to Philips Hue talking about that requiring accounts will make it more secure, and I just farmed some engagement by retweeting this with, wow, great security. Also because a lot of marketing departments use sentiment analysis, whether tweets are positive about the brand or negative. I also added this joke as an answer to it that for the marketing tool that is parsing the sentiment of my tweet, it was a negative post. It was not meant to be positive. I mean, I feel like I retweeted here some kind of news. On the other hand, it was kind of still engagement farming, so maybe I also put it in C. Then here we have me posting about a video I posted on my second channel, the channel you are on right now. Now this channel is very low effort videos, but at least I created content, okay? While this is not super high quality content creation, it is still content creation. And compared to a lot of the other garbage that is getting posted on Twitter, I can put that into A. So this one is a two-edged sword. Obviously I'm promoting here the Hextree.io platform, but also I think it's a very educational post. Here I was referencing a video from Bug Bounty Reports Explains about IDORs because I noticed some MongoDB object IDs, which he didn't realize in the video, which I think is a really educational tweet. So while it is an ad, I do think this belongs into the S tier because it actually teaches some hard technical skills. And if you read over this tweet, you learned something. So to me, I succeeded with that tweet to create something educational. The next one here is another small milestone of Hextree, because we started inviting some beta testers. Just a handful, not many, but if you're interested, definitely join our waiting list. This one, of course, has an emotional, personal connection. So it's, for you, probably not that interesting of a tweet. It's really a personal milestone for me. And so in terms of, this is a social media platform, and maybe you follow me because you want to hear about what I'm doing. This is me talking about a project that I spent a lot of time and effort on, and so I do feel like this is not a trash tweet. It's of course a little bit promotion for Hextree as well, but it's something close to my heart. This one just happened at the end of the month, getting some last engagements in, and this is complete trash. We can put that in F. So there was somebody talking about the new DALL-E release to create images, and I watched this and I thought, hey, where's the boy? I'm just explaining the joke right now. Let's not waste our time. This one is absolute garbage, completely unnecessary. Sorry about that. This one here, is this a good password or cat on keyboard? Actually, yeah, my girlfriend got a cat, which you might have seen if you followed me on Instagram. Yeah, this is of course, the cat walked over my keyboard and typed something in, and I thought, okay, that could be a funny tweet. So this is not necessarily like a good tweet, but also it's not F. I think it's kind of funny. So I put it maybe on the same level as these other tweets here. Okay, next we have here a tweet by Nathaniel. Did Ash Ketchum from Pokemon have hobbies? No, he caught fucking Pokemons. Enough said. So I think work-life balance is obviously important, but on the other hand, like, I live in front of the computer, I love working there, and if I, over the span of multiple years spend double the amount of time, I think there's no surprise that hopefully maybe I progress faster in my career than others. Mental health, work-life balance, everything extremely important, but personally I also want to acknowledge the people that just put crazy amounts of work in and recognize that it was crazy amount of work. Let's not lie about the effort that went into some things, and so respect is going out to all the people that do some crazy stuff. Okay, next one was a banger tweet. That one got a lot of engagement, 260,000. And I was responding to this meme format that was making its round, and I said that Mr. Robot is a terrible show. I only watched the first seasons, though I think I might have also started the second season or watched it like in the background or something, but it's so boring. And then people were saying in the responses, oh, it's not a hacking show, it's about mental health and drugs and stuff. And yeah, I know the hacking was fine, I didn't mind, but the mental health stuff in that felt like very shallow. I have seen real mental health crises, and I feel like, in the parts that I've seen, it's too romanticized and too easy to predict for a TV show. In my opinion, it does not show real mental health problems that people have. I think mental health is extremely important. You know probably that I suffer from severe anxiety. Just today I went to the dentist, and before I went there I threw up twice because of panic attacks. So mental health I consider extremely important. At least what I've seen in Mr. Robot, up to the part that I've seen it, I thought was just lazy. Or like not good. I really didn't like it. I put it there just because I'm proud of the amount of engagement that it got, but of course it's kind of garbage as well. Okay, next up is actually a technical news about the XM out of bounds remote code execution vulnerability, which was not fixed or is fixed. It's like very weird, the news about it. That's also why a question mark. I've been once in a while always look at Twitter. I used to search and look at what other people are writing about it, and there are some researchers I know have written about it, and then I seek out their tweets again to see if there has been some more discussions around it. That's how I use Twitter and how I learn stuff, because I do consider making a video about that. So I just want to stay in the loop and see if I find it interesting. And generally, of course, it's sharing some news that wasn't making its rounds yet, so I do think I want to put it in S tier. Okay, so we have to put it here in the context. So first of all, I'm retweeting here. I think the original tweet here was me directly uploading one of my YouTube videos on Twitter. So I do think that tweet in itself was S tier because it's actual content on Twitter. It's not garbage tweet, it's content. It's reused content, older content, but not everybody has seen all my videos. I think that's totally fine to repost on Twitter, and it's actual content, which I think should be more celebrated and shared more on these platforms instead of the low effort tweets like my retweet, because I did that to farm more engagements, and I was asking what other controversial opinions do you have about best practices, trying to get people to tweet about it. So that kind of makes it like a bad engagement tweet, but I put it in B for two reasons. First of all, it's still retweeting original content of mine, which that quote tweet itself would have been S tier, I think. And also it's a discussion about IT security. I assume you follow me because you want to stay in touch with IT security. And if you see that tweet, you might read some responses, and I find that's insightful. That's maybe where you can pick up on something, where you can learn something new. So I do think that's a good tweet. Then we have here the news about Microsoft accidentally leaking a lot of data, 38 terabytes, and me just making a dumb joke about it. Microsoft's dedication to open source AI advancements is inspiring. Yeah, that is pretty just engagement farming tweet. I mean, it's kind of security related tweets, but also like not interesting IT security. I put it in D because it's just, but not as unrelated as the stupid dinosaur picture. Okay, this one here is actually related to the Mr. Robot one. You can see it's kind of the same meme format, but at some moment I had this realization, wait, what about turning this meme format around? So I actually used the Photoshop replacement AI to turn the swords into the dollar bills. And I mean, AI tools, I love them. They are great and really future. And me as a content creator, it makes it so much easier to create visuals like this. So this took basically no time, and it's basically the reverse question of the meme format, hoping that it would blow up in similar ways. It didn't get that much engagement, but I still think that it was kind of creative. While it was still a bit of shitposting, I do think it kind of deserves to go in B tier. It's not S tier because it's still like, yeah, just like engagement farming about memes. It's not really that insightful and was more like a joke. So yeah, I put it a bit lower. This one is also another dumb tweet. Tired of low payouts for subdomain takeover? Here's how you can increase impact. Host a web app vulnerable to RCE and report a critical. This is kind of a dumb joke, but on the other hand, it's also kind of like making maybe your gears turn in your mind about all the different impacts and how to prove stuff. Because in the end, if you host a vulnerable web application on the same domain, it's technically an RCE on that domain, right? And I think it makes people understand, okay, not every RCE has impact, because it has no impact because you host it, obviously. Thus, it has no impact for the business itself. And now imagine not you hosted the test application, but the developer hosted the test application. Then the impact would be the same. It's an application that has no value for that business. It was just accidentally placed there. So I do think this kind of tweet can cause some interesting discussions about impact and severities. And so I do think actually, while it was kind of a shit posting tweet, it's actually really, it can be quite educational or insightful maybe. So I'm actually inclined to put it in S or maybe A tier. Maybe I put it in A tier just because it was also a bit of shit posting. Just no real effort went into that tweet. Okay, next one is a fun one. There's actually a related tweet. Let me find that one. Oh my God, there are so many tweets. Okay, I found it. All right, so this was actually me creating a clip out of a long stream from Lena, who is working on Asahi Linux, the Linux distribution for MacBooks. And she was working on something related to the GPU driver, and while working on that, actually found a critical issue in macOS and how the GPU works in mapping memory. And so she was creating a huge live stream explaining in excruciating detail how the privilege escalation exploit essentially worked. And she is a VTuber, and for me, that I just love hacking, how these anime girl VTubers are sitting there explaining in excruciating detail how this GPU privilege escalation issue worked. Like I love it. That makes me always like getting extremely excited. So while this tweet in itself, I didn't create content, it was still top content, and I'm very happy that I was able to share that with people that follow, because I do think it's good content. Of course, it was just a funny clip of that stream that I shared here, but then people can look at the whole stream. And yeah, I'm happy that I was able to share that. And so we come now to the related tweet, because then I thought, you know what if I had a VTuber model and how much would it cost? I actually would put it maybe in E tier, because it's really just a dumb shower thought, and it has not even some technical value. Also, if you want to farm engagements, if you ask for artists that are open for commission, you will get a lot of DMs. If you are lonely and need to talk to people, you can write this and you should get some DMs. But it's actually in the making. I hope it will work out. You know, you never know. Maybe the model doesn't turn out well, or the artist, something else happens. So I don't have it yet. I haven't paid anything yet, but I'm investing in it. And so yeah, I'm really excited about that actually. I think that will be really fun. Next up, we have actually a tweet engagement farming related. I'm a victim of gamification. I'm almost at the 5 million impressions threshold, and I will use the response to this tweet for the most liked tweets. Actually, now that I read this, I realize I forgot and never committed to my promise here, and I know which tweet it is because I was already gaining a lot of likes back then. So yeah, this is the tweet. I wiped my ass standing up. And well, you can read it here. And I almost forgot it linked to the original tweet. I mean, I do everything for engagement farming, I guess. So let's post that. And I guess we can take a screenshot of that. We can also put it in here. And that's definitely F tier. That engagement farming tweet, of course, that triggered it is also completely F tier. Really sorry to my followers here. That is absolutely garbage tweets. Okay, what do we have here? Being self-employed, I hate Twitter follow Friday because it always reminds me it's Friday and I still haven't completed my important task for the week. So it always reminds me, oh, I haven't done my taxes yet. I should still write the report for the customer. And then I know my girlfriend is home for the weekend because she has a regular job and now I'm there working on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, it's not a good tweet. Not super garbage tweets, it's just sharing a little bit my opinion. So it's kind of like a personal tweet, but still bad tweet. Also, it's not tech related, so I guess I put it also in E tier. It's just a bit of personal news, but has no value whatsoever. Now, this tweet here, or the combination of the two, I think it's kind of funny. You know how universities award honorary degrees? Can I get that for certifications? Can I maybe just get OSCP or CIS but without actually doing all that stuff? I think that's funny, and it's criticizing the certificate industry. So, you know, that's an A tweet for me. I have not seen that joke before, so I didn't copy it, and so I'm kind of proud of joking about this. So yeah, that's why this was A. This one is about a lesson I learned by creating content, which is not to announce stuff before it's ready. And that's why I also felt weird announcing the VTuber model, because I don't have it yet. Because you get a dopamine kick and then you actually never fulfill it. I see it all the time on Twitter and I judge people a lot. Like when I see tweets of, I plan to make a video about this, or what do you think, would you like it if I make a video about that? These people rarely deliver. Very, very rarely you will actually see it getting done. And sometimes they suggest multiple of these topics and maybe one of them get done after a while. So I don't like it. I think it takes away from real content creation because, you know, you're only engagement farming because you're actually not committing or so. I judge that heavily. I'm sorry if you are one of the people doing it, but I really recommend you just create it. Then you can still announce it and ask suggestive questions like this afterwards. You can enjoy all the reactions and the build up to then the release. Do it that way. Consider it more like a marketing plan or something like this, but at least people will actually get what you promised. And I think that's a better way of doing it. So here's a bit more Hextree related stuff. For me, of course, Hextree being a labor of love and a project I'm working on so much, it's obviously meaningful to me, but and maybe if you're interested in Hextree, then it's also kind of interesting to get a little bit of insight, reading some of the titles of the trainings here. I know the quality is pretty crap right now, I'm sorry about that, but it's pretty worthless for regular people. So I put it in D. It's still related news to what I'm doing and you are following me, so maybe you're interested in what's up with Hextree, but of course there's no real value in that tweet. And maybe it's also a little bit of humble bragging that our videos are good because it's about feedback ratings, and so yeah, maybe it's a bit too much humble brag. I can see that. Now here, this is S tier content for me because it's literally just a YouTube video of mine that I directly uploaded to Twitter, so I'm not getting YouTube views or YouTube ad money. However, maybe I get Twitter ad revenue sharing through that. These are tweets that also do well, and of course I think these are just S tier because it's actual content. Okay, I spent a lot of time creating this. I'm proud of posting it. So this is, I think, why you followed me, because you're interested in my videos. I'm giving you exactly what you ask for. That's why it's an S tier for me. But we are also engagement farming, so of course I'm reposting the same video twice. First, I posted it as a YouTube video, so I can initially get some YouTube views, and then later I uploaded the direct video. But I do still think it's like S tier. Of course, there's the information twice, you know, one day apart, but then maybe you were on Twitter the next day, maybe you didn't see it. And considering how much engagement garbage tweets get, at least it's content that gets shared twice, right? So I do still think that's generally an S tier tweet because it's real content. Now here, this is also kind of content. It's actually a clip from Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. I have been a lot more active on there. And I was making a highlight story how to create a complete video. So that video itself is obviously just a dumb little video from Instagram, but on my profile on Instagram you can find the highlight story taking you along how a full LiveOverflow video is created. That is kind of like an A tier for me. It's actually a short video clip that took some time to set up, and maybe it's interesting the behind the scenes, so I do think that's an okay tweet. Then here, Date apparently bought my font, so thank you so much for that. The font, I believe, really represents LiveOverflow, and I think it's really great for people to buy it, and especially I love it when I see it getting used. So Date was using it here for this meme format, and of course the I see you because you're using my font. That makes me very happy, but of course it's uninteresting for you. So maybe I put it at C. Now here we have another shower thought. The worst thing about browsers changing the UI is that my videos with old UI start and feel old. This is actually related to this tweet here, because on my other computer, suddenly, I guess I'm part of the A/B testing here because I was getting the new browser UI. And one issue is with creating technical videos is that when you do screen recordings and you show the window bar or you show the browser, then they get updated. And then of course your video start to look dated. It will start to look old because you see old versions of software. That always annoys me because there are lots of older videos of mine that I still think are extremely relevant, but maybe people are turned off by them because they feel old. So yeah, these tweets were related, and of course I pulled it into two different tweets. First of all, also kind of interesting actually that they removed the SSL lock icon. So I do think that's an interesting tweet, keeping you up with the news. But it's also not that important news. It's maybe C tier or maybe B tier. It's somewhat interesting technical news. You know, SSL certificate and SSL logs is a huge topic in IT security for some, or cybersecurity, like especially training people to not pay attention to phishing links and stuff like this. But yeah. But the other tweet here that go along with it, it's kind of interesting maybe if you are interested in the making of stuff, but it's really just a shower thought, and I just tweeted it because I thought, okay, I can get some views with that. Next one, if you see cool hacker tweets, tag me in the response or send it to me via DM. Maybe it's a good fit for another video. I mean, that's just a call to action because my last LiveOverflow video was about explaining tweets, but also, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty lame tweet. It's not really interesting. Also in the video itself, I said you can send me tweets, maybe consider it for a video. So I was just, you know, also tweeting it because I was getting some views, but it's so unimportant, that tweet. So yeah, it's probably an E. I got banned because I forgot to turn off my glasses and had to go to the bathroom. This is basically a subtweet to the announcement from Mark Zuckerberg about this collaboration with Ray-Ban about these glasses with cameras in it where you can live stream right on Instagram with it. And so it was just like a dystopian tweet about that people will live stream, and because glasses are obviously not a full camera, you might forget that you are live streaming and walk into a bathroom. But that is complete garbage tweet. I do think maybe it's... so I'm struggling to put it in F or E. I guess it's more like an F tweet if I'm honest. The next one here, Florian Roth was using Midjourney to create groups of cybersecurity professionals, which is very disappointed that all of them wear suits. So of course the bottom right one I can relate to the most. And on the other hand, it does reflect the industry well, because I think the largest part of cybersecurity jobs are, of course, suit-wearing jobs, tech sales, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's probably a good reflection of the industry, but of course, I'm actually more interested in the nerds that actually find vulnerabilities and stuff. But it's also just kind of like engagement farming, dumb tweet of mine to respond to that. So yeah, it's probably E because there's really no value in that, no real value in that tweet. And it's kind of also shitty to, you know, this group thinking, okay, you have to wear a hoodie to be cool and not suits, and you know, I understand that. So maybe it's not the nicest thing as well. So yeah, it's a pretty bad tweet. Now here, this is me sharing an old video of mine. You can see here old YouTube, so it feels old, but I think it's a very good video, even though it's 5 years old. It's one of my favorite videos actually. And I think it's very educational. So for me, it's S tier because it's actual content directly uploaded on Twitter. You can click on it, watch it. I have subtitles for my videos, so you get the captions. I think that's like good content for Twitter. Now here we also have some related tweets, so let me pull them actually up here. So first of all, we have here that there was this interview. There's actually a German video also on this channel. Maybe you've seen it. It's about a hacker who made an interview with a popular German YouTuber, and I was quite disappointed by that because I actually debunked a vulnerability claim by him in my hospital run video, if you have seen that on the main channel. And I was preparing to make that German video that you may have seen. And for that preparation, I was looking into some of the vulnerabilities. And maybe you remember that in that video, I showed this apparent Chrome exploit that Jean Pereira claimed to have found. And I was investigating it together with Sirius, and I tried to download an older version of Chrome, and kind of this is our conversation that happened. Sirius sent me a link where I can download old Chrome builds, and yeah, I asked him if that link is trustworthy because I downloaded the exe in Windows, double-clicked, and nothing happened. So yeah, it's kind of a funny tweet, but obviously kind of unrelated. So this tweet, I think it's kind of just like a funny joke. Maybe a bit tech-related, so actually it's funny and tech-related, so maybe it's a B. Of course, me talking about the interview and sharing this and sharing then a link to my original content to back that up, I think that's actually good content. If you watch the interview or saw the interview and see my take on it, I do think that's educational, so yeah, let's put it in A. I think that's fine. And then breaking news plot twist, I think that's also an interesting follow-up. So if you are invested in that story, then obviously that's kind of an interesting development. So I'm inclined to maybe B, because it turned out that actually there's a Chinese article that talks about Bamboo.js. For me, there was a missing link between Bamboo.js and Chinese researchers. You know, these communities are somewhat divided because of the language barrier. So Chinese researchers have their own materials. They might not watch YouTube LiveOverflow, you know, while in the US, maybe people learn by watching my videos. So for me, there was a missing link. Why would Bamboo.js have any relevance in China? Of course not. Nobody knows about this fuzzer. But it turns out there was a Chinese article mentioning it. And now it's kind of like this missing link. Okay, damn, it is known. I mean, it could be known by Chinese researchers who maybe have learned by reading that article, and then maybe they used that fuzzer to build their own fuzzer or something like this. So, you know, it's kind of a missing link. Largely, I still think, you know, it has no relevance whatsoever, but I do think it's kind of interesting and also honest to investigate further and acknowledge, you know, on the line of probability, it was on completely unlikely probability that Bamboo.js found something and that it was used by Chinese hackers. And now, you know, the needle shifted slightly. Still not on that side that these Chinese researchers used that fuzzer, but we can acknowledge that it shifted the needle of probability a little bit over. And I think that's also just honest. Next, we have something about Discord where you can disable notifications or push notifications and sounds for people if you want to ping them but not alert them. And I think that's a bad feature because I very much believe in asynchronous communication, that you are responsible for whether you want to be notified or not. With home telephones, we didn't have this power, but modern phones, you have very careful settings. You can exclude certain contexts that maybe are important to you. Also on do not disturb on iPhones, if a person calls you multiple times, they actually will get through, stuff like that. And so I think it's a bad habit to put responsibility on the sender, because we are on the global internet. I don't want to think about where you live and what your time zone is. If I want to write you something, I write you this message. And I think you are responsible if you want to receive it or not, if you want to turn off your phone or do not disturb or whatever. So sharing this opinion, I think, is important to me, but of course it's not really educational. So maybe it's a B. Next, we have a tweet by Andreas Kling about a very dirty kitchen and some bad commits. And I was looking at that and thinking, you know what, I'm actually sympathizing with this complete trash mountain, because this happens also when I'm like in a tunnel playing CTF or working on programming or something. When I'm just in a tunnel, this can happen as well. So I'm actually sympathizing with this image. I think that's peak productivity. If your kitchen doesn't look like this, you are actually not putting all the productivity you could have into it. On the other hand, I was wondering if Andreas Kling was saying, okay, people that are dirty are also bad at writing commits, and there's like an intersection of these groups. So I'm not sure if he's judging me or if it's about celebrating productivity. but of course my reaction to it is also just engagement farming. So it's a C-tier tweet, it's really not that important. What was the most memorable security talk you have seen? Link the recording below. Okay, so this is obviously shameless engagement farming because I didn't watch a single talk that was referenced there, and I just wanted people to respond because I thought that tweet would get some likes. On the other hand, you know, it's still IT relevant. So it's engagement farming, but in an okay way, right? You will follow me because of IT security. All the responses are, of course, security talks, and and maybe you can get some nice recommendations there and something catches you. So it's engagement farming, but somewhat still related. But now that I think about it, it was pretty lazy. So let's put it down to B. Next up is another video sharing of mine. It's also an older video again, but for me, that's always S tier because it's actual content being shared on the platform, and I think that should be celebrated. So that's an S tier. Next up, we have just some YouTube behind the scenes about a video I made here on the second channel about NahamSec and the issue he had with his video getting threatened by Rapid7, and also talking about that it got more views than, you know, a high effort video on the main channel. That's a little bit the sad reality of social media. It's not always quality getting rewarded, it's entertainment, drama, and that kind of stuff gets rewarded. So of course I don't want to do too much drama and low effort stuff like this video, but it can help, of course, to grow your audience. And so I still want to, of course, be known for high quality hacking videos. And it's kind of interesting, of course, the behind the scenes, but also that interesting, I don't know, it's a C tier, I think. Next, we have another video of mine about actually an XSS in Google, which I think is a great video, and it's content right on the platform, so it goes into S tier. Next up, we have here about a streamer completing Demon's Souls, Dark Souls in order. Crazy achievement without getting hit. It's a no-hit run. And me just making a dumb joke about Arch Linux. That's complete engagement farming. Not F tier because it... with the Arch Linux joke, it's kind of like IT related somewhat, but it's very terrible. Have you ever developed a more or less complete web app? Of course, I asked this for engagement farming. On the other hand, I was actually also curious because sometimes I do wonder, do I have to explain some more basic coding stuff, or can I expect people from knowing some basic coding and web development? That's kind of interesting and important to know for Hackstree. Do I have people in mind that have some basic web development experience, or do I need to focus on teaching basic web experience? So seeing here that actually only a minority has never developed more or less complete web app, which is even a big thing. So not even a little bit of coding experience, but actually a more or less complete web app, and people were saying yes, the majority was saying yes. So that's making me confident that I can focus more on stuff. But yeah, I think it's C tier. It's kind of like maybe curious for you also to see those stats. Maybe you were curious. And of course, it's nice when a larger account makes these questions because it's a bit more representative than of the votes. But yeah, I don't know, it's C tier. Or maybe it's D tier. Let's put it to D tier because it's pretty uninteresting content as well. Now here, actually, so this was about this 0 day about, I believe it was WebP again, like the file format in iOS. Was it I think it was a report by Citizen Lab again, or something like that. I don't remember. But then Matthew Green was saying, you know, Apple takes away ports of phones and slim them down and being minimalist. Why not take away features on the phones, software features that are used for exploitation? Do we need all these different file formats? And I actually never thought about it that way, so I kind of thought, that's a base take, so it's kind of interesting. Of course, I did not just retweet it because I'm not sure if a retweet counts towards my engagement, so I of course quote tweeted it to gather the engagement, and that feels a little bit dirty. But it's a bit mind-provoking maybe, I think, so it's a C tier. Now this tweet is actually, if you have not recognized it, related to another Jean Pereira video. He apparently hacked the Corona app, live hacking. It's a complete, that video is just complete weird. The text makes no sense. I don't know, I would have to dig deeper into it, but to me it does smell fishy. It's very sus video. Also, there's this conspiracy that the Tagesschau, basically the German news source, did not want to cover his topic, which he puts there as kind of a little bit like a conspiracy against him or something. But in the end, I think the Tagesschau realized that there was no meat behind it and it was kind of like fake news or so. That's my guess. But without more information, of course, we don't know. But that was obviously just engagement farming and a deep reference into the Jean Pereira lore. So I put it in D. It's not a good tweet. Then we have Discord hiccup. Sorry, you have been blocked. Posting this on Twitter right away as fast as possible because I know I will get Twitter engagements with that. And of course, it wasn't just me, it affected other people. But that was just sleazy engagement farming. It's kind of like in the same area like the Microsoft AI stuff, I think. There's really no real value in it. It's kind of IT related. I just recorded a video for LiveOverflow and it took me an hour actually. And then at the end I realized that in the middle somewhere the battery of my audio sender was empty. And I do have a backup microphone, but I didn't really set it up. It's pointing towards the wall. So I'm not sure if I can salvage that video. And it's also a really, really dumb video. Look, it's a tier list. It's a tier list of my tweets the past month because of the Twitter ad revenue sharing. I was tweeting a lot of garbage just to get impressions for the revenue sharing. And in that video, I wanted to tell you how much I earned. So yeah, let's hope I can salvage this video because I will not record another hour of me talking about my dumb tweets. Oh, I hate it. Wasted time. I took a short break and I charged my microphone and so I'm back. So sorry I skipped a few tweets, but to be honest, it wasn't really that interesting, right? I'm just farming watch time on YouTube. Anyway, here's the resulting tier list. And I think, you know, the distribution is still kind of interesting. I do think I did quite some good tweets, but you can also see that half of them were kind of like garbage tweets. So I don't know how to feel about this now. So the thing is, I always say I hate all the social media game. And I do. But then I see these very popular Twitter accounts just sharing the most dumb, useless tweets, like this one here. When I saw that one, that really triggered me. That kind of was also one of the main reasons why I started to spam so many tweets. Because I hated that tweets like that get so much attention and then that accounts like that grow this large. The large accounts should be the real researchers, the people that actually do work. And I do feel like I belong to those people that actually create real content. So I'm comparing myself to these other accounts and I think it's kind of like unfair. But the problem is, good content is not what is rewarded on these platforms. Good content is rewarded with like respect and all that stuff. And sure, it helps you grow your audience. But on social media, the game is just to be on social media. You have to just constantly post, constantly be in people's heads. And if I don't do that, I'm not the one in people's heads. Instead, low effort content or no content at all gets all the attention because they keep posting. And so sometimes I feel like I'm forced to do it in order to get the good content in front of people's eye. I feel like I have to play the social media game in order to reach all the people I want to reach. And lots of times I think it's boring, but right now on Twitter it feels like a game. The game is fun right now, and the same thing I'm doing on Instagram. I saw some extremely huge cybersecurity Instagram profiles and I'm thinking that content is a lot of garbage, but they are the ones posting. I'm not posting anything. Why would anybody follow me on Instagram? So same thing, I start posting things just to like prove it to myself that I can get those numbers or something like this. I don't know. I see it as a game right now. But I also know the LiveOverflow from 1 year ago would hate myself for all this engagement farming. But back then I thought it's extremely important to have a nice Twitter account, not post any unrelated things, be extremely technical only. And I was judging others hard that we're not only posting technical stuff. And now I'm like playing this game and I'm doing the same thing. So, well, I guess the lesson learned here is don't take things so seriously on social media. I should take my own advice and not care so much about all these other accounts, but here I am playing the game now. Anyway, the moment you all have been waiting for. How much money did I earn? Let me pull that up. There it is, $42. Were all those trash tweets worth it? Tell me in the comments all these garbage tweets were worth it. To be honest, I was actually expecting double the amount based on the estimations that I read. And even for double the amount, I don't feel like it's really worth it. On the other hand, I do feel like it has overall a positive effect on LiveOverflow, the YouTube channel, and the community as a whole, and also, of course, Hextree. I don't really care if LiveOverflow becomes successful, but Hextree, I want to be a successful business. And part of that business will obviously be social media and advertising and marketing on social media. And so LiveOverflow slowly is changing for me to a marketing platform for then eventually Hextree. And that's why I consider it also kind of like important that I'm now engaging a little bit more with people. I probably would have hated myself some years ago too, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. Please give me honest feedback if you think it's getting ridiculous and annoying. It is what it is. If you are a dedicated watcher and even watched this boring video, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Maybe leave a comment that you watched this far and write the term candle into the comments if you watched this far. Anyway, check out hextree.io and my own font on shop.liveoverflow.com, and check out some of the videos linked and shown right here. See you in another video. Bye bye.